This episode is brought to you by Resy and American Express. Resy is a digital platform that connects restaurants to restaurant lovers by elevating dining experiences, providing original industry content, and helping to fill some of the country's most exciting dining rooms. Because restaurants have always been more than just places to eat. The amazing world of restaurants is just a few taps away in the Resy app and at resy.com.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso. Gift magical mornings with Nespresso Virtuo Pop. Compact and stylish, Virtuo Pop is made to meet every morning coffee craving. From espresso to coffee, hot or iced, at the click of a button. And celebrate the season with Nespresso's limited edition coffee flavors. Sweet almond and hibiscus, cinnamon and candied tamarind, and festive double espresso. Magic in the making. Shop the holiday gift collection exclusively at Nespresso.com.
I want nothing more in the world than to just answer people's food questions. It is my absolute favorite thing. It's the best. And it's like, what other use is there for 48 years worth of food knowledge?
This is Taste. I'm your host, Eliza Barbanel. Tamar Adler is the James Beard and IACP Award-winning author of An Everlasting Meal, Something Old, Something New, and the best-selling Everlasting Meal Cookbook. Currently living in Madrid, she stopped by the Taste Studio to talk about writing her thoughtful new book, Feast on Your Life, Kitchen Meditations for Every Day. It's a thoughtful collection of dispatches from a daily life anchored by food. And today on the show, we go deep on Tamar's writing process and perspective. Tamar Adler, this is Taste. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to have you here in the studio. I'm a fan of your writing, and it's nice to have you in New York. I'm curious how your trip here has been so far.
It's been so good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm from New York, and nothing can make you love a place, I think, like not living there anymore. And also, I'm living in Madrid now, and the twice that I've been back since moving to Spain, I've been alone. So it's not just that I get to kind of see my city with fresh eyes, but also that I don't have anybody tugging on my leg, or anybody who has to go to sleep early, or who, doesn't feel like eating raw fish or anything like that.
Yeah, that must be nice. I'm curious, when you come back to New York after being in Spain, are there any meals that you seek out?
Yes. I but like I generally avoid any olive oil based cuisine because I'm at the very heart of olive oil based cuisine, meaning like anything Italian or French or Spanish, I just have no interest in. So I generally have there was a Chinese restaurant on 6th Avenue that closed. That was called How Noodle and Tea. That it used to always be the place that I went when I came down here from Hudson, where I normally live. And I would always get the same spicy fish soup. Now that place is closed, but another kind of Sichuan super spicy brothy thing is always my first meal. And then I like to have Korean food, South Indian food, Ethiopian food. I usually like two Sichuan meals is about, I think that's a minimum probably for me. Sometimes ramen, and then I'm like getting down to it. So I have to like have like dumplings for breakfast, and then some other like hand pulled noodles. I have to have them for sure. So then hand pulled noodles at lunchtime, and then like some kind of a tofu thing later.
You're committed to eating everything that you normally don't eat in the same way.
Yeah.
I love that. I think it's the right way to travel, to be seeking out dumplings for breakfast.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there anything that you like go eat at? I know the Szechuan place you used to go to is closed, but do you have any old favorites that you want to return and check in on?
Not really. Like, even though I say that I try to avoid all olive oil-based stuff, I feel like I do end up at Via Carota or Bar Pisolino for like one
That's very understandable.
Moment for one just little, like I like that feels kind of ritualistic
Yeah.
for me. But no, How Noodle was the place. That was I would just, and I don't think I've ever eaten there with another person, maybe once. I go by myself and I would get this soup that made me sweat so much and made my nose run so much that I always felt like people would be worried about me. Like I was having a full physical and metaphysical catharsis right there in the restaurant. But no, now that it's gone, I'm just kind of like morning. I'm in purgatory. Taking suggestions.
Okay.
Where should I go? Where should I go? Where should be my new place?
Ooh, I will think about this. I feel like I have a lot of Szechuan places, but I don't necessarily have the soup there, so I don't know if it's as good. Have you been to Mala Project? Because they have a mala soup that is incredible.
No, and that's been on my list.
I think the soup specifically is so good, but I went one time when I was recovering from a cold and my throat was a little raw still, and I physically couldn't eat the soup. So I think you need to be in good physical standing.
In good shape.
Yeah, exactly.
I went to Peppercorn Station 2 days ago.
Okay.
And that was really, really good. I'm going to return there.
Okay, I would talk about spicy soup with you all day, but we're here to talk about your new book, Feast on Your Life, which is such a beautiful kind of poetic, almost food book. I'm curious when you first began thinking about the idea for this book and how it kind of developed.
Thank you for saying it's poetic. That's nice. It was so I started a gratitude journal in the fall of 2024 because I was really depressed and nothing was really helping. And my husband was like, "You should really try this. Try writing down the things that are good." And I was so reluctant. And then I did. And of course, it made me feel better because this is proven and anybody who's ever done it knows that it works. And then it was actually on New Year's Eve. And the book starts January 1st. Mm-hmm. So it is completely true to life. On New Year's Eve, I was at my agent Kari's house for dinner, and we were talking about gratitude, and we were talking about Ross Gay's Book of Delights. And she suggested that I start kind of narrowing my focus, the focus of my search for joy, to the kitchen. And she just said, I would love to read what happened when you looked for moments of gratitude and happiness in the kitchen. And I was like, really? Who wants to read that? But she suggested that I do it for a week and just kind of frame my search. And I did it for a week. And I was like, oh, I love doing this. And it automatically felt like a book project.
Mm-hmm. And when you read it, it is 365 entries. It reads like daily entries. Did you write it in real time?
I wrote the book in real time, yes. So I turned it in literally on, I don't know, whatever, just January 1st of the following year. But I guess I don't know calendar dates and stuff like that very well. It's been a long time since I've studied it because there were weird gaps of dates. Sometimes some months would get 2 26ths. And then some entries were just really bad. They just were. I turned it in and it was missing a bunch of entries, not on purpose, just because I can't count. And then I was happy to have an opportunity to replace the really bad ones. I hope.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think there were really bad ones when I was reading it. And
no, because I took them out.
Yeah. Your agent must have been pleased that you got the prompt and then a year later you filed a manuscript, though. That's pretty good.
I mean, so it was funny because my publisher actually thought that I was going to deliver the manuscript a year after that. She thought it was going to take me 2 years. And in my head, and I didn't actually go back and check the contract. I might have turned it in a year early. I have no idea. I just felt like there's no reason to dally. I just wrote all this down. There's opportunity to revise it anyway. I don't want to sit here and futz over this.
Yeah. And prior to doing this project, were you somebody who had journaling as a part of your practice?
Not recently. In the distant past, I had.
Yeah.
But not recently. And ever since I finished the book, I've returned to writing about my days.
Yeah, this is the thing that I always feel guilty about is that I don't journal, but whenever people do journal, they seem to be intensely productive as a result of it and really kind of find it a useful thing.
But don't feel guilty. What if you just, start with I think the thing that was so great about this was how gentle it was.
Mm-hmm.
I started writing 5 things a day. And then after a while of that, I started writing things that happened in the kitchen or near the kitchen. But it was never, I don't know, it felt gentle. It didn't feel like I was forcing myself to do something that I knew I should do. It wasn't like taking a pill,
Mm-hmm.
Not
prescriptive.
Not prescriptive. And now it's also not, I don't force myself to do it every day.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like the muscle's a little bit warmer. So when I have a thought, I don't go, or when I have some impression of my day or draw some conclusion, or I don't just go like, okay, fine. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to sit down and put it in that document that is now whatever, hundreds of pages long. That's just about me.
We're talking about the book being styled around things that are happening in the kitchen. I think that's kind of a very vague term for the wide variety of entries that are in the book. Maybe for someone who's listening who's trying to picture what it feels like to sit down and read this book, can you give some examples of like the kinds of things that appear in these entries?
There are so many, but there was one snow day when my son and I were having a pretty good, a good snow day playing and all that. And toward the end of the day, just as it was getting dark, we ran into other kids in our neighborhood and came up with the idea of my making a rainbow of snow cone colors so that we could all make snow cones outside. So I did make a rainbow, and all the kids on our block gathered on my back deck, and we got a huge metal bowl and filled it with snow and made snow cones. So that's like a very kind of special one, though. There are also there's me making breakfast, making cinnamon toast for for my son, and thinking through the fact that it's really important to me that I learn to find happiness in the process of making food, especially that he's going to eat, because more than half the time, he turns it down, which is fine. But that I was like, oh, but that can be okay as long as I really focus and dial in while I'm cooking and let the phenomena of cooking and the physical phenomena be my rewards. So that is in there. Often dinners with friends. I think there's a pretty wide variety, and some are one sentence and some are 4 pages. There's a long list of reasons to cook also. There's a terrible poem about noodles that I couldn't help writing because I was just so overcome with like the poetic bounciness of noodles.
There's even an entry where you're talking about how you've been trying to cook seasonally and eat seasonally all winter, and then you bring home a pineapple and cut into it. And I think like just that sunny moment of delight amidst the root vegetables that really resonated with me.
It's so funny. I was writing it and I was like, people are going to think I'm such a weirdo, but it's true because it was like a ShopRite pineapple.
Yeah, and you wrote about you kind of are comparing yourself to being like a Victorian person who's like receiving this faraway bounty, which I feel that way all the time.
You do?
Yeah, which is weird because like it's not something you talk about, but I often think about what would it feel like to be somebody who encountered a pineapple for the first time.
Yeah. I think actually there is an account of that somewhere because how crazy it must have been, right?
Well, I have a friend whose like famous family story is that their like great-grandfather came to Canal Street, like tucked into like a grate beneath a grocery store to sleep for the night, encountered a pineapple and like bit into it. And I think the line was something like, once you got past the thorns, it was really tasty. So maybe that's why I'm thinking about pineapple all the time.
I wrote about this in the, I think in the same entry, but my husband's uncle and aunt are like very off the grid people. And they spend most of the year just kind of sea kayaking, and they've built their own sailboat.
Wow.
They built the incubator that their premature twins spent like a month in when they were born. They took them home from the hospital and built an incubator. The twins are great. Everybody's fine.
Yeah. No, I'm a twin and I was in an incubator, so I
maybe
understand this. But it was not homemade.
You don't think they made it for you?
Definitely not.
But I describe watching them at my husband and my wedding find a brick of cream cheese we were all sharing a rental house, in the rental house fridge. And one of them said to the other, cream cheese. And they stood across from each other and ate the whole brick of cream cheese with from a spoon. They would like take a spoonful and then hand it over to the other. It was so exciting. It was like the first person discovering cream cheese ever. And that's what I felt like with the pineapple. I was like, pineapple.
I recently took two friends that were visiting New York from Taiwan to have Mexican food for the first time in their lives, and they had guacamole for the first time in their life, and it was similarly like a beautiful experience to watch.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember what they said? Probably not words.
Yeah, no, they said they took a little sniff and then a small bite, and then one of them, my friend Uning, said, wow, it tastes like ice cream. Which I thought was really interesting because it has that, creamy kind of dairy quality that's similar in ice cream, but I don't think that's like an association that a lot of people would make.
I mean, I do remember, this is also in the book, I remember the first time I tried it, thinking it was impossible. It was impossibly delicious. Like I couldn't, it was in the realm of like unicorns and
Guacamole. Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed impossible to me that anything could taste like that.
Mm-hmm.
This episode is brought to you by Aura Frames. If you're one of those last-minute shoppers, you might know the feeling. Ideas are running low and the clock is ticking. Here's a fun idea. Aura Frames. Aura Frames is a solution with a gift that feels personal, a little curated, and sent with love. And a gift that can be purchased in no time with a few clicks of the mouse. Aura Frames are great. They sent me one to check out, and it was really cool and dumb simple to set up. I loaded photos using the app, and it was displaying them instantly. There are no limits to the amount of photos you can load, and you can customize messages with each photo. And here's the deal. You can preload an Aura frame with photos and have it directly sent to that special person in your life, gift wrapped and all. There will be no price tag, and you can include a personalized message. Think about it. All those photos from this past summer's family reunion delivered in a digital frame. That is pretty cool. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using promo code TASTE at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code TASTE. The deal is exclusive to listeners and frames sell out fast, so order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Hi there, it's Matt, co-host of the show. We are currently running a This Is Taste listener survey, and we'd love to hear from you. Do you have a guest request? A restaurant you wish we'd visit to talk about on 3 Things? What about a lesser-known cookbook author who deserves a spot in our studio chair? You can let us know by clicking the link in our show notes to complete the survey. It will only take a couple minutes, I swear, and will help us continue to make the best show possible. That's the This Is Taste listener survey, link in our show notes.
Do you feel like you've always had a strong association of food in your memories?
Yeah, but most of them were negative for a long time. I just hated food when I was a little kid. I hated it. I found almost everything just seemed nauseating to me. Like smells were, just horrible. I remember sometimes thinking that my kindergarten teacher smelled like cheese, and I hated cheese. I love cheese now. And I couldn't, American cheese, which everybody gives little kids. My son has, I think he's had American cheese on cheeseburgers, but I never gave it to him because it was like such an assaultive part of my childhood. People always gave it to me, and I thought it was so disgusting that I taught myself to swallow it whole. I would like rip it into like ribbons and then swallow them whole because it was not worth fighting, and I couldn't bear to chew it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, mostly bad food memories.
How did things like start to shift for you?
I don't know, but I was definitely a late bloomer. I mean, I wanted to go to sleep away in a summer camp bunk. My parents ran a summer camp, and I wanted to be allowed to stay in a bunk. And my father gave me an ultimatum, which was that I had to eat the food that they served in the dining hall. Because before that, I was like a peanut butter and jelly kid. So I had to eat mac and cheese, which I thought was so gross. I thought it was the grossest thing. But I had to show him that I could eat mac and cheese, eat fish sticks, eat soup. And so I did. But I think probably that started the turn slowly because I was forcing myself to be exposed to different flavors.
Yeah. This might be like the interviewer in me reaching for something, but I wonder if the same instinct to really dislike food can also be kind of flipped around into really enjoying food, just having like such a strong response to something in either form.
I wonder. I mean, I wonder. I don't know. I think my son also has had a really like slow time warming to food. He doesn't tend to get excited about new flavors and stuff. And so I also wonder if we are just kind of really slow bloomers in this realm, and that we
genetically.
Yeah, that he will. Something in us is just programmed to turn on a lot later.
Yeah,
and we just need to be left alone with our white bread for some years.
I like that thought, and I think it's interesting to think about like the evolution of appetite over time. And even in your own books, I'm curious if the way that you have been thinking about the food that you want to eat or the food that you cook for others has shifted.
Yeah, it definitely has. I mean, even when I land in New York and decide what to eat, I know I used to be so drawn more than anything else to like really rich, like Western European food, and that's what I really wanted. I really wanted like tagliatelle with truffles and like ribeyes, And what I really want now is super soft, spicy tofu.
Yeah.
Like I want that right now.
Yeah, it's making me hungry to talk about it. I want to ask you about how recipes fit into the fabric of this book, Feast on Your Life. How did you decide which recipes you wanted to include versus just dishes that you were describing? I
only included recipes where I thought people would, like their lives would be better if they had that particular recipe. And because I noticed somewhere in the writing of the book how many of my entries involved the granola that I make.
Yes.
And like I get a totally disproportionate amount of my happiness from granola. And it is the easiest granola recipe I've ever made. It was designed to be super easy. It's like pour 5 ingredients into a bowl, mix, and bake. And that's it. That's the whole thing. And so like there's no chopping. There's no knife work. Usually I feel like when I used to make ones with fruit, I would add the fruit later. My mom's recipe always had like a pot where you had to mix all of the liquids together. None of that. And I make, in Spain, I don't make really big batches because I have a little oven. But in the U.S., I made really big batches, which just meant that I had it forever. And I would never go over somebody's house without having some granola to give them. So I put that recipe in because I feel like everybody should have it just in case they're as lazy as me, and like don't want to use a knife to make granola. And then there's one recipe that's from my second book that is so delicious, and I was thinking about the dish and thinking about the recipe, and has this kind of fairy dust quality. Both the sound of the recipe and the ingredients and the finished dish.
What's the recipe?
It's petit pois à la française. And it's just so delicious. People don't really serve it anywhere, so I wanted to include that. And it's also really easy. And then I think I put a guacamole recipe in, but that was because my editor read the entry on guacamole and wanted to know how I make it.
Yeah.
So I put it in.
That's funny. I feel like there are a lot of moments in the book where you're like beautifully describing this dish that you've made, the French toast, for example, that it feels like it would be natural to include a recipe there, or like maybe an editor would be like, you should include this recipe. But I kind of like the fact that the recipes are few and far between, because I think when you do encounter them, they feel more special. And also maybe the rapport that you've built with your readers over the years, like, you know, maybe don't know like the secret sauce to make that exact recipe, but hopefully somebody could read about a dish and understand like roughly how it comes together.
Yeah, and I don't want them to think that the exact dish that I made in that moment is the point. You know, like the point is the noticing and appreciating. And I could imagine it being pretty easy to start like kind of, I mean, people can still skim whatever they want, but sort of like skimming to get to the French toast recipe and then missing, I don't know. I don't know if that's what people would get the most out of.
Yeah, I think that the act of reading a recipe and the act of reading prose are two different things. And even though some recipes can be beautifully written, it does kind of feel like a different part of your brain as a reader, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I also put in a recipe that I love reading, but the dish that I think it would make sound so disgusting that I hope nobody follows it. And I certainly have never followed it. But it's from MFK Fisher, and it's a recipe that she quotes. I'm sure she never made it either. It's a recipe for French onion soup that involves half a wheel of camembert and 30 peeled walnuts. Obviously beautiful words.
Yeah.
You know, like you want to hear that. I want to like just picture half a wheel of camembert and 30 peeled walnuts. But I definitely don't want to like put them in my soup.
Yeah. That's fantastical, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you do some nice kind of quoting throughout the book as well, and I'm bringing in like other ideas. Were they things that you were reading at the time that you were writing the entry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of it. I mean, yeah. There were days that I got my culinary pleasure from prose, from culinary prose. And I decided it counted. But because I think there are certain things that are written that can be kind of as good as a meal.
No, I totally agree. And I think it is nice because it almost creates a reading list of other things that someone could seek out to read alongside the book.
Yeah. That's true. It didn't occur to me to put one in, but I guess it's in there. It's not a very long book.
Yeah, people could make it themselves along the way.
Yeah.
I'm curious, you write a kitchen advice column called The Kitchen Shrink, which is a great pun name. And I'm wondering if writing that has kind of given you a new perspective on cooking.
It hasn't given me a new perspective on cooking, but it has kept me interested in and excited about writing about cooking, because this is my fourth book. And this is the least instructive and kind of, the least servicey of the books.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would feel like I started that column because I didn't feel like I had anything to say about food, but I knew I had a lot of knowledge about food. And so I figured if I could find a way of just answering people's questions and just telling them what they needed to know, as opposed to coming up with some structure that made sense to me, then I would go on doing it. But kind of that there was no other reason to. And so it just keeps me so excited and so engaged in all questions food when I'm just answering somebody's question. Like I want nothing more in the world than to just answer people's food questions. It is my absolute favorite thing. It's the best. And it's like, what other use is there for, 48, how old am I? I guess I wasn't a good cook the whole time, but let's just go with like 48 years worth of food knowledge. Like I want to start shedding it, kind of. I mean, I guess I keep it too, but it seems like, I just want to sit and answer people's food questions.
Yeah, and even the list of reasons to cook, that was because somebody emailed you and asked, why do people cook?
Yeah. And at first I was like, I'm not going to answer this. And then I would just walk around like doing my daily life and find myself saying out loud, this is why. This is why. This is why people cook. And
do you remember some of the reasons why that you gave?
Yeah, I do. One reason was to get to appreciate certain magical ingredients that, I mean, I make lists of them, but like there's no way to get close to wild mushrooms other than by cooking. And then another one is so that you can make your child scones first thing in the morning. And another one is to have something to do with your body, with the sack of meat that you carry around.
Yeah.
And for the cheapest, easiest way to gather a lot of people.
Yeah.
Those are some.
Yeah, I resonate with all of those. I think the one about getting close to ingredients made me pause because I didn't think about it in that way. But it's so true. Even like quince smells incredible.
Yeah.
You can't eat it raw, really.
You can't get close to quince. Exactly. I wish that were in there, but that's perfect. There's no, it just stays, it's like a Zeno's paradox of an encounter, because the closer you can hold it right up against your face.
Smells so good.
But you can't actually do anything with that. And you can't like put it in your mouth. And then, but if you cook, the crazy thing about quince is that it actually tastes, when you make quince paste, it tastes as magical as it smells. It tastes like petals, like flowers, and like honey, and like all these crazy things. And there's no other entry point. And I feel like that also, there's a lot of cone cabbage in this book. I think there's 3 cone cabbages. There are 3 cone cabbages. But that was another one where I was like, I just find that such a like charming plant. It's such a joyous, funny, charming plant. And unless you're doing something with it, all you can do is kind of like look at it and be charmed. But if you're cooking, then you similarly get to kind of like engage with the cone cabbage.
Engage with the cone cabbage. Yeah, you have a lot of beans in the book also, and I think it's almost the reverse. Like some beans are so beautiful when they're dried, and then when you cook them, they lose all of that beauty. But then, I don't know, maybe it goes inside of them and they taste delicious.
They're beautiful on the inside.
Yeah, but when you get like those beautiful heirloom dried beans, I kind of like hoard them like precious gems because I know that they're not going to be as beautiful anymore.
Yeah, but I feel like you can, this is a perfect feast on your life exercise.
Okay.
I think that probably before writing this book, I would have been like, these are really beautiful now. It kind of stinks that after I cook them, they're going to be brown. And then while I was writing this book, I would be like, I am enjoying the heck out of looking at these beans. And then I would look more closely at the beans and be like, what a startling pink. Like, how does that pink end up on a bean? And how does it get painted in those slashes across some of them? And I'm like, why does that one have a constellation on it? I'm looking at a bean with a constellation on it. And then, like, I'd put them into a pot. And as I was putting them into the pot, be like, how could something that's so beautiful also sound so beautiful? Like, the clicks as they drop into a pot. And then how, as you fill a pot of beans with water, and just when the water rises above the level of the beans, you kind of hear them shimmy back and forth inside the pot a little bit. And then I would like see them as they started to turn from, like as their colors started to like bleed into the past. And by the time I was done with all of that, it was like they hadn't lost their color and turned brown. I had gotten all of that. And that was the practice of the year that became this book, was this sense of not losing things as quickly as I had felt like I was losing them, because I noticed them so minutely and then recorded it.
Yeah, I love this kind of meditation of making beans. I think we're talking a lot about the things we love about cooking, but another thing I liked in this book, which is something I think you did in An Everlasting Meal, is the list of tricks for making cooking appealing when it isn't. I feel like that's a very relatable other side to cooking, is like you realize I have to do this all the time for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Could you maybe give me some advice on some ways I can make cooking appealing when I'm in that headspace?
Yeah. Definitely. There are a lot of them in the book. And it was the first time I had ever written down kind of every time I didn't want to cook. And it's a lot of the time. Like I'm not some special, I think one could imagine that people who cook a lot and write about cooking just want to do it all the time. But I don't. I don't want to do it all the time. One of my strategies, so the strategies I gave, or the ones I remember from An Everlasting Meal, are like reading a little bit about food, but not necessarily in a cookbook, just reading beautiful descriptions, and how sometimes that can like shake something free inside of you. And it just kind of engages your creative and literary and soft self. And another one is changing the format of a meal so that it's not like, it doesn't have to be the same. It doesn't have to be like a dinner that you have at a table. Have a picnic. Have grilled cheese. Be like, okay, it's sandwich night. Or let's have breakfast. You know, we have scrambled eggs and toast a lot in my house at dinner time. Breakfast
for
too.
dinner.
Yeah, breakfast for dinner. And then in this book, there was one day when I had to make lunch over a school break for my son and me, and it was like, I can't tell you how much I didn't want to. I was like, this is impossible because I have to feed both of us, and it was cold outside. I was not going to go out to a store and buy something and like waste all this money when I knew, I was just like, I don't want to do it. And then I pictured the things that I had done recently. I pictured myself as a stranger. I pictured myself as like a friend that I hadn't, that I didn't know well. And I kind of observed what I had done recently, which was do my absolute best to make it off a ski jump. And I was so proud of myself. I was like, I really felt like I cleared, like I was like an Olympian. I was like, I basically am ready to enter the Olympics. And then I asked my son, and he was like, I didn't see any space between your skis and the jump. I mean, that's the least of it, the kind of brutality that I'm exposed to on a daily basis. But I was like, I really did feel like $1 million. But I didn't want to make food. And then I was like, you know what? The lady who did that is rad. Like, just cook for her. Cook for the lady who was like, yeah, I'll go off the jumps with you. And then did it, and then landed, and then was like, and felt good about it, and didn't say bad things about myself. I just said great things about myself, like I should enter the Olympics.
Right.
And after that kind of repositioning of the person I was cooking for, I totally did want to cook. I wanted to make her a sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a great new one.
I like that. I like pretending to be someone else as a method of cooking. I should be doing that more often. Sometimes I do the like Chopped competition school of it, where I look at the things in my pantry that have been there for the longest time or that need to be used most imminently, and then try to come up with a whole meal around that without going to the store.
Amazing. What can you think of one that you have done recently?
Oh, what did I do last night? Because it was somehow along this line. Last night was leftovers, but the night before I made soup with some cabbage that was in the fridge and some chicken stock that was in the freezer. And I didn't have like a potato or anything to put in it, but I had a bag of like Korean rice cakes in the freezer. So I simmered them in the soup. That was really good.
That sounds great. And
it
like,
was really good.
Delicious. And you can probably never recreate it.
I mean, I'm going to try to recreate it like probably tomorrow because it was so good. But I think about soft textures similar to what you were saying about tofu before. I think like eating a squishy soft thing, it always sounds like a good idea to me. So maybe that's like the jumping off point.
Yeah, but I love, right. What soft squishy thing can I serve myself today?
Exactly. In what form will it be?
Yeah.
I think of you as somebody who has a lot of appreciation for leftovers. You wrote a whole book kind of around this idea of using up leftovers. Is that still kind of a way that you shape your cooking, especially maybe now that you're in Spain in a different place?
Totally. I can't. The very beginning of living in Spain was so hard because I didn't have leftovers. And because my pots were really small.
Yeah.
So like the pots weren't big enough. The pots and pans weren't big enough for me to cook enough to have leftovers. So I had like a real kind of identity crisis because I didn't know what to make. I couldn't remember how I cooked. I was like, how do I usually do this? I'm sure I usually do this because like we all eat, And then I bought the 2 biggest pots in Spain, where the guy at my like local hardware store had to climb up on a ladder into this special dusty area. And he was like, you don't want a pot this big. I mean, it's not very big. It's like, I'm not good at the quart thing, but one is like 6 quarts. One is 10 quarts or something. But he was like, nobody wants a pot this big. And I was like, I'll take both of them. And as soon as I had them, I could make amounts of food where I could have food left over. And as soon as there are leftovers, I'm like off to the races.
Right. And when we say leftovers, it's not necessarily like a whole composed dish. It's
No.
beans or grains or something like that becomes the basis for something else.
Like it's leftover rice, got to be that. Some leftover cooked vegetable. There's usually leftover vinaigrette. Just one chicken thigh, like stuff like that, where you're like, okay, I see you. We're gonna dance.
Can I give you like a leftovers conundrum I've been facing recently?
Yes.
Well, maybe the answer is obvious, but I feel like you said leftover vinaigrette. I often have like 2 teaspoons of leftover vinaigrette. Like if I added it to my salad, it would make it too soggy, but it feels like a silly amount to be saving. But then I save it and then I just make more vinaigrette with that as the basis. Is that the best I can be doing with that, or is there some like untapped potential I should be reaching for?
You can't do that ad infinitum.
No.
You can't do that ad infinitum, especially because garlic, the taste of garlic changes dramatically.
It really does.
Don't like leftover garlic. No, not good. But what I like to do with that, so I often use a little bit to make the next one, unless it's garlic. I really won't do that. All I taste is old garlic when I have that. But I really like to drizzle it over if I'm heating up rice for lunch, even if it's a different kind of rice, or I just drizzle it over. It gives it, everything can use that little amount of acid and fat and onion or, whatever. It's like, so I just use it as a general moistener or, kind of, or if I'm having a fried egg on toast, which is I often have that for lunch. I just drizzle the vinaigrette over the fried egg.
Just expand what it can go on.
Yeah.
The other thing I have is a huge quantity of bacon fat in my fridge right now, which I use to roast vegetables, but I can't use all of this that way.
Nope. Bacon fat's hard. I like replacing half of the butter in cornbread with bacon fat.
Ooh.
That's good. You can't do all of it. I mean, you can. I find all of it to be too bacon. But half is good.
Yeah. I like that idea. I feel like I get overwhelmed looking at how much is there, so then I just kind of put it to the side. But cornbread is a favorite food of mine, so
okay.
That's
Great.
achievable as a goal.
Great.
Okay, while we're talking about kitchen strategies, I wanted to ask you about classic dishes. Your book, Something Old, Something New, is kind of all about revitalizing classic dishes. I'm curious if there's a underrated classic dish that you think should be getting more attention and love.
Definitely. Okay, so one is petit pois à la française, and I would just...
Which, can you break that down for me?
Yeah. So I think this used to be a very common dish, like kale salad or, roasted broccoli romanesco. And it's English peas, which can totally be, frozen if you want, cooked with spring onion, a little bit of chicken stock or water, bacon lardon, and chiffonaded lettuce and butter. And it becomes the lettuce just kind of becomes like a slightly wilted, like a really elegant little, if you've ever had something with where they lay a thin slice of prosciutto over the top when it's warm and it kind of melts into it, that's sort of how collapses. Yeah. The lettuce functions like that, but also retains a little bit of its crispness. So it's actually, it's a lot like thinly sliced prosciutto over something. And the lardons just give it this the textures are a big part of it, because there's the chew of the lardon, the pop of the English pea, the kind of smoothness of the spring onion, and then that little silkiness of the lettuce. And that is so good. It's just a fantastic dish. And cooked lettuce in general, to expand the category, not all lettuce and not cooked always, but cooked lettuce is great. And I have another recipe in Something Old, Something New for lettuce toasts, where I just cook lettuce with butter and lemon zest and a tiny bit of chicken stock, and then put it on toasted bread covered in anchovy butter. And it's insanely good. And
it sounds so good.
It's so good. So yeah, cooked lettuce.
More people should be doing it.
Yeah.
I feel like desserts are one of the categories of older classic dishes that become revitalized more often than not. I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's just about the fantasy of dessert that people are interested in, kind of the nostalgia of it.
Or I wonder if it's because desserts are so like aesthetically oriented. You know, like we're always looking at what desserts look like, I think, even more than we're looking at what they taste like.
Yes.
And that makes old ones really ripe for excavation because you can see pictures of them and then it's almost like looking at a dress, you know, like, oh, the bustle is back in, which it kind of is maybe back in right now. But like, so it's like that, you know, it's almost more fashion, falls into the visual realm rather than the gustatory realm.
Oh, I really like that point. I think that's totally right. And you can see even like Baked Alaska being like 80s does 50s, the same thing with clothes happening right now.
Yes, exactly.
Do you feel like living in Spain kind of gives you a different perspective on like the kinds of things people are eating in restaurants or making at home? Or do you feel like your appetites are kind of the same no matter wherever you are?
Well, it's just, you know, in Spain, there are not that many vegetables. In Madrid, in the Madrileño diet, there are not many vegetables other than potatoes, artichokes, which are one of my favorite foods, peppers, like padron peppers, and tomatoes. And so I get like kind of scurvy level yearnings for green vegetables in general, and like kale, which I'm like fine on kale. I like well cooked sautéed kale. I'm not a raw kale person, but lettuce, kale. I like made a weird, embarrassing sound when I finally found like really good fresh broccoli once. Because I think needed it so badly.
Yeah.
So that I'm feeling like real yearning for vegetables. And I think actually in coming back here, I've noticed I don't think I've even had meat since I got back to the U.S. For this week. So I think clearly like I love that the diet there is based on like eggs and pork and potatoes and tomatoes. I love those foods. Beer. Like I'm so happy. I'm not like, oh, more ham. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
Love ham. My son's favorite dish right now is called huevos arrodos ibéricos. And it's French fries topped with Iberian ham, topped with fried eggs. And that's like a dish. Like you can just go in and get it. Which like I was like, when I saw that, I was like, this is allowed? And it's allowed. He's like, I'm going to go have huevos rotos. But and I love it. But then when I come back, I want things that aren't potatoes, eggs, ham and tomatoes.
Yeah. The broccoli thing is funny to me because I used to work at the Park Slope Food Co-op doing like the produce restocking, and broccoli was easily the most in-demand vegetable, at least among the like Park Slope family set. But I feel like it was impossible to keep it stocked. It would always be gone.
Wow. Have you ever done like a deep dive into that? Why broccoli? I mean, everybody thinks they know how to cook broccoli. So that's right.
I think I know how to cook broccoli, but there are many ways to cook it.
Well, but no, you have to cook it in a way that gets the salt into it. Not in a way that doesn't get the salt into it. But I think like a lot of people when they become a mom feel like, okay, now it's my broccoli time.
Yeah.
And then they start cutting it up and steaming it.
Yeah. I feel that. I like to take a knife and shave the top. I don't even know what to call the little balls, but shave them like off and then cut, peel the stem, cut that up, and then you can like saute that in pasta or something.
That sounds great. Yeah.
But I do think it is kind of like the childhood vegetable staple for whatever, maybe because it looks like a little tree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very pretty.
That's cute. I don't want to blow up too many of your Madrid spots, but I'm wondering if there is maybe a favorite that you would share.
Yeah. There's a place called Hermanos Vinagre. I really don't know what to do with the like Spanish accent now that I'm back then, because I definitely am not trying to like turn,
Hermanos.
No, it's Hermanos Vinagre.
Oh.
Because the is for C and Z.
Yeah.
But Hermanos Vinagre is a small chain. I think there are like there are either 2 or 3 of them. And it's amazing. It's like, it's just small things like tapas. But there are either 2 or 3 of them, and everything is very vinegar based, as you can tell.
Vinegar Brothers.
Yeah, Vinegar Brothers. But my 2 favorite things there are, so the potato chips. Every place has potato chips, but the potato chips there are kept warm, like just a little warm. So you get them, and they're like, they're just warm potato chips, which is as good as it sounds. And then there's quail and escabeche, which is amazing. Like it's a blended escabeche sauce, so it's a smooth, tart sauce, and the quail is marinated in it. And you just have like those things and a vermouth. They have lots of different vermouths, and that's one place that I love. And then there's a place on my corner called Bar Dolores, and the thing that they don't have a kitchen, so it's just kind of whatever they like open up cans, and then they also do they marinate their own anchovies in-house. But what they're known for is matrimonio, which is boquerones, which are, all anchovies are the same animal. There's no 2 anchovies, but boquerones are marinated in vinegar, and the brown kind are cured in salt and then marinated in olive oil. This place's famous dish is just a plate of both the white ones and the brown ones, and then you put one of each on a potato chip.
That sounds so good to me.
It's so good.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And that's called matrimonio? Mm-hmm. Oh, so like the 2 are becoming wedded together.
They're becoming wedded.
That's very sweet.
From February 20th to March 7th, dive into Canada's biggest culinary festival, Montreal en Lumière, an exclusive partnership with the McCord Stewart Museum and its exhibition, On the Menu Montreal, a restaurant story. The 2026 festival invites food lovers on a flavorful journey through time. Montreal's top restaurateurs will reimagine 65 years of the city's iconic gastronomy, crafting inventive, nostalgia-inspired dishes with a modern twist. Prepare your palate. World-renowned chefs, including several Michelin-starred talents, will team up with over 80 of Montreal's finest local chefs to create unforgettable, one-of-a-kind menus. The full program is available at montrealenlumiere.com. Presented by Lotto Quebec in collaboration with National Bank. Today's episode is brought to you by ButcherBox. As a food writer, I can be a little skeptical about subscription cooking boxes you hear about on podcasts. There's big talk about cooking simplicity, but you're usually left with disappointment after smashing that promo code. Now, Clayton, have you ever tried one of those subscription boxes?
Yeah, Matt, my friend gave me a code for that one that has all the chopped vegetables in little baggies. I felt like a drug dealer trying to cook dinner.
Yeah, man, I have so been there. ButcherBox is a true exception. I was sent a box of premium beef and pork and was blown away by the quality and variety. There was 100% grass-fed pasture-raised ribeye, tri-tip, and ground sirloin for my favorite at-home smash burger recipe. George Moats, you better watch your back. For pork, they sent me a beautiful center-cut pork loin for slow roasting. I was super impressed, and I haven't even talked about the ribs, which I cooked in my Instant Pot. There was a rub of salt, white pepper, and togarashi, and I pressure cooked with water and apple cider vinegar. It was incredible. These ButcherBox ribs are amazing. For nearly a decade, ButcherBox has led the industry with meat and seafood that's antibiotic-free. As an exclusive offer, our listeners can get free protein in every box for a year, plus $20 off your first box when you go to butcherbox.com/taste. Visit butcherbox.com/taste to get this limited time offer and free shipping always. That's butcherbox.com/taste. Don't forget to use our link so they know we sent you.
Here's my 30-second story with Guinness. As soon as my sister and I get home for the holidays, we don't even unpack. We head straight to our pub. The bartender already knows our order, Guinness and fries. We laugh all night, catch up with old friends, and walk home with faces sore from smiling. It's one of my favorite nights of the year. That was my 30-second story with Guinness.
Guinness Draft Stout. Please enjoy responsibly. Imported by Diageo Beer Company, USA, New York, New York.
Okay, I wanted to luxuriate in your Spain Rex, but now to close, I want to do a rapid fire. So I'm going to make you play some favorites, and you can tell me the first answer that comes to mind.
Oh, my God.
It's going to be great. Deep breath. Okay. A favorite cookbook right now that's not one of your own?
So Foods of Sichuan. Fuchsia Dunlop.
3 things that are always in your fridge.
Eggs. Parmesan. Milk. That's boring.
It's classics.
It's true.
It's good. Your go-to breakfast when you're having breakfast.
Granola and yogurt.
Your favorite late night snack.
Corn nuts.
Like a flavored kind or just
No. God.
hard no?
No. I don't like flavored things. Like I'm not a ranch. No.
No barbecue, just
No.
pure.
Yeah. Not even jalapeno.
Okay.
Like just the thing. Salty fried thing itself. Keep everything else over in its corner, please.
Your favorite season for cooking?
Oh, right, like harvest season, right, fall, when there's still eggplant and there's also squash.
Your favorite bookstore?
Oh my God, the pressure is impossible. I'm not going to do one. Okay, in Spain, it's Secret Kingdoms. In the West Village, it's 3 Lives. In Rockefeller Center, it's the one I was just at, McNally. For cookbooks, it's Bonnie Slotnick and Omnivore. Oh, and there's an all-climbing and adventure-based bookstore called Desnivel in Madrid that is unbelievable.
That's so cool. A restaurant that you wish you could be a regular at?
Isodi.
Finally, a fictional food scene, like from a book or movie, something made up that you wish you could magically eat in real life.
The first feast that you see served in, is it called Eat, Drink, Man, Woman?
Yeah.
The Ang Lee movie?
Yeah.
The first scene cooked in that. That's what I'm gonna eat when I'm like on my deathbed. It might have to be intravenous.
It's a great scene. I watched that movie because somebody told me the food went in. It was so incredible. And it's an incredible movie, but I'll be thinking about that for lunch for a long time. Tamar, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. This was so fun.
It was so fun. This is Taste is hosted and produced by Matt Rodbard and me, Eliza Barbanel. The show is edited by lead producer Clayton Gumbert and supervised by Pat Stango, Director of Media Production and Development at Penguin Random House. Thanks to Shalia Harris and the production team at Penguin Random House. Theme music by Steve Rydell. Episode portraits by Louise Zergang Pomeroy. Logo design by Ellie Skurzat and Ian Dingham. Visit Taste online at tastecooking.com and make sure to subscribe to our newsletter to keep updated on all cool things in the world of taste.